This video will look at rationalizing the denominator. Now, rationalizing is exactly what it sounds like. We want to change a radical in the denominator into a rational number. And that really is a number like 2 divided by radical 2 is a hard number to visualize. Other numbers like 1/2 or even square root 2 over 2, 3 over 2, those are much easier to visualize where they are located on a number line. So rationalizing will change our fraction so that there's no radical in the denominator. And the way we rationalize is to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by that radical. So in our example here, 2 divided by radical 2, we're going to multiply it by radical 2 divided by radical 2. This is just a form of 1. But now if we multiply straight across, 2 times radical 2 will give us 2 radical 2. Radical 2 times radical 2 will give us radical 4, but that just is 2. And now, as always, ask yourself, can I simplify? Yes, we can cancel both those 2's and we're left with just radical 2. So that is a rationalized form of this expression. Now let's try one that's a little bit harder. How about 2 plus radical 3 divided by radical 3? We're going to do the same exact thing. Multiply it by a form of 1. That is the radical. Now, the denominator is easy. Radical 3 times radical 3 is radical 9 or 3. The numerator, you want to distribute to both terms. So 2 times radical 3 is 2 radical 3. And radical 3 times radical 3 is just plus 3. Now always ask yourself, can I simplify this? And I know what some of you are thinking. Sure, we can cancel and cancel. But no, we don't cancel when there's addition related between our numbers. So let me back out of that, right? Do not just cancel those. So in fact, this one can't be simplified any further. How about if we have a more difficult expression with a radical in the denominator? Well, to rationalize the denominator now, we are going to multiply by something called the conjugate. And that really is similar to when we multiplied and factored a difference of squares. Remember when we had a squared minus b squared, a difference of squares, and that factored into a minus b, a plus b, and what happens is when you FOIL it, your outers and inners cancel. We're going to do the same thing here. A plus b radical c and a minus b radical c are conjugates of each other, because when we multiply them, it will remove the radical completely, right? Let's go ahead and try it. If we FOIL it, firsts will give us a squared. Outers will give us plus a b radical c. Inners will give us minus a b radical c, like it. And then finally our last will give us minus b squared radical c. And if we simplify this, again, those outers and inners cancel each other, and we're just left with a squared. And then if I simplify this, minus b squared and radical c times radical c is just c. So notice, no more radical sign. And again, a conjugate is just the opposite sign when it's involved with a radical. So if we have 2 minus radical 3, its conjugate is 2 plus radical 3. Or if we have 1 plus radical 7, its conjugate is 1 minus radical 7. So let's try number 4 here. We want to rationalize 2 plus 1 radical 5. So first, let's see, what's the conjugate for the denominator going to be? That will be 1 minus radical 5. And we always want to multiply by a form of 1, right? So this is together is just 1. Now we want to multiply across by both our numerator and our denominator. Well, our numerator is nice and easy. 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times negative radical 5 is 2 radical 5. For our denominator, since these are conjugates, we know our outers and inners will cancel, so we only have to multiply our first terms, which are 1 times 1, which is 1, and our last terms, which is plus 5, plus root 5 and minus root 5, and that'll give us minus the square root of 25 or minus 5. We can simplify this further by saying it's 2 minus 2 root 5 all over negative 4. But don't stop there. Always ask yourself, can I simplify? Is this the most simplified it is? And hopefully you see that there's still a factor of 2 in every single term, right? We could rewrite this top as 2 times 1 minus radical 5, and we could rewrite the bottom as minus 2 times 2, and these boop, boop, 2's will cancel out, and we'll be just left with, and I'm going to just move that negative sign up top, negative 1 minus radical 5 quantity all over 2. And that's how we rationalize, because again, notice there is no square root in the denominator. And let's take it up one more notch. For one that's a little bit more difficult, we have 5 minus radical 7 over 3 plus radical 5. We want to multiply by the conjugate of the denominator. So that means we're going to multiply by 3 minus radical 5. 3 minus radical 5. Now we can FOIL both the numerator and the denominator. Let's go ahead and do the denominator first. Our 3 times 3 is 9. Our outers and inners will cancel, and our plus radical 5 times a minus radical 5 will become just a minus 5. The top we need to FOIL, so 5 times 3 is 15. Our outers is 5 times a negative radical 5. Our inners is a negative 3 radical 7. And then finally our last is a radical 7 and a radical 35, which will be a radical 7 and a radical 7 and a radical 5, which is a radical 35. The only thing we can simple really is just the numerator, because all of my radicals have different numbers underneath, so I cannot combine them at all. And we'll have a 15 minus 5 radical 5 minus 3 radical 7, and finally plus radical 35. And that's all you can do for that expression.